Michael, 45 RPM, audiophile. I feel like I haven't seen you we haven't done this in so long. And I think there was a little bit of a rumor that you and I have had a brush up or something, but it's Mazzy here, Norman Maslov, Seattle.
Michael, Germany, Düsseldorf. No, just maybe our time is winter time. And so winter is coming and now we start all over again.
Life has happened, back to work a little bit. I've been a little busy with my photo agency productions. And
that's
although I've been doing a lot of videos, except not with you. So there'll be a link below to both of our channels because this is being posted on each of our channels.
Exactly. Yeah, and quite a topic. No, today we are not the, how can I put it, the only nice guys. We have something we want to complain about, right?
Record labels, cut the crap.
Exactly. Give us better stuff. Damn it.
Although we are sympathetic because of the backlog and pressing plant issues. Although I think you could stop printing a lot of these multicolored variations and not clog up the friggin' pressing plants with McCartney 3x60 colors and every color which way. But
I don't think that has something to do with.
You don't? It made me buy 6 copies of McCartney 3.
Yeah. Okay. But the quality at all or overall from certain companies, I don't think that the quality is due to the fact that there are limitations in production capacities, because they put out their crap for quite some time now, and also times before there was this vinyl boom. But that's why we talk today, and we are not always on the same page, but a bit maybe.
I'll say one thing. Excuse me, about one thing about that is I just want to state for the record, and I mentioned this, I think I commented on your last video, I buy a lot of records, as do you, and I think there was a discussion about the tone poets and the classics, the Blue Note things. I've gotten almost maybe 98% or 95% of all those reissues, and I've had 2 bad ones. 1 bad pressing, 1 bad cover. So I find I don't get a lot of bad pressings. I use an MC Hanna ML cart, which is very forgiving on my Riga RP8, and I don't get a lot of bad records, to be honest with you. So,
me neither. For example, when it comes to the classic series, and I have them all, I haven't exchanged 1. But that's not the companies we are talking about, because we don't talk, I think, about companies that has now and then some quality issues. We are talking about a company, maybe we start with the first record, who brings out really important stuff. This is quite new, got this week, and I've lost the original. And so I said, oh, come on. Take the half-speed masters once more from Abbey Road, try it and listen to it. And of course, you have it.
Well, mine is a unpeeled, this is a 1972 issue, and it's pristine.
Lucky you, because I tried it again. And maybe I have had my beef with Abbey Road, and I put it on. And of course, I know and knew that this is not an audiophile recording from the begin with. But they really have outdone themselves again in the negative way. I have never, ever heard such a flat, empty, dead vinyl. Mazzy, it's unbelievable how bad this is, and this really annoys me for several reasons. They have all the important bands. They have Queen, they have the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Bob Marley, the Police, and on and on and on. And if you consider the importance of the recordings they have at their hands, and the quality they give us, I'm speechless.
You know,
I'm really speechless.
what's interesting about that, and I fully agree with you, is cutting vinyl an objective thing. We all love the Kevin Grays, we all love the Ryan K. Smith, the Bernie Grunmans, and there's a handful more. Now, that's done, I think, Miles Shotwell at Abbey Road. And I am not a fan, like you, of the half-speed masters. I see these people on YouTube and people in the forums, oh, that it's half-speed master Beatles, it's half, you know, that doesn't mean shit. Now, again, I am not a mastering engineer, and I will say that. And there's a famous clip, which maybe we link, of Kevin Gray, who thinks this whole half-speed mastering thing was mumbo jumbo. Abbey Road has dived in deep on the half-speed mastering thing. And even Kevin Gray says, you know, the thing is, you want to go through the vinyl formula, that the whole formula of when you're cutting the lacquer, it's soft. You don't want to let it go slow at half speed as it moves and forms. You want to get through there and get it cut, you know, at a normal, reasonable speed. And half speed kind of slows that down. And there's all this kind of wimbly wombly things that he would say. Now, again, I don't do this. You don't do this. I think the McCartney 1 that came out last year, half speed, sounded pretty good. But for the most part, I agree with you. I am not a fan of the half-speed mastering. Also, those are, we both know, those are cut from digital sources. And again, I am not against always has to be analog if it's well mastered.
Absolutely right. And even you just named the half-speed mastering way of mastering things. I have fantastic half-speed mastering. For example, we release jazz. They do Japanese jazz releases mostly. And they also do sometimes half-speed masterings, and they are gorgeous. They are great. You know, somehow, I think the cleaning lady from Abbey Road would do a better mastering because she can't. They don't care. You know, this is so typical. It's a typical reaction. You know that better than me in a way. This is a typical reaction from the big industry, the big music industry. They really can't handle changes. They haven't self-inducted. I hope that is the right term. Yeah. They did it very well with the CD, the marketing of the CD. They did that very good. But nowadays, they have nothing to do with this vinyl boom. It's completely has nothing to do with the big music industry. And again, they handle it so poorly in my opinion. One sentence and then I'm done. Imagine a young person as a friend, he's into vinyl. Oh, why are you into vinyl? Because what probably does he say? It's cooler and it sounds better. And then he buys this piece of crap. And then he said, Messi, what have you told me? It doesn't sound better. My MP3 is better. And the MP3 probably is better.
Yeah, and I haven't heard that one. And I have heard a lot of them. I heard some of the Bob Marley half speeds, which I didn't love. And those of you who watch my channel probably don't know this. I recently acquired a LP collection of one of my best friends, Coleman, who had the Coleman collection, and he passed away several months ago. And my friend and I acquired it. We're keeping a lot ourselves, and we're selling some of it. And I'm not here to sell. That's not that. But the point is, he was really into a lot of first pressings. And since I've had this collection, I probably pulled already 300 or 400 records for myself. A lot of white label promos, a lot of first pressings, and like early island records of Bob Marley. And I pulled those out, and I pulled out the first Doors album, a Monarch pressing mono of that. That's a 4-year-old record. And oh wow, oh my God. Of course, the Analog Productions 45 sounds pretty friggin' great. But that mono copy, it killed. It was a great pressing, and yeah, there's some surface noise, 50 plus years, but it sounded great. And the thing is, that young person who's buying that record, it's not necessarily about the audiophilia side of it. That doesn't matter. You want it to sound good. And depending on what system you play it on.
You know, and it's not that difficult. I mean, Messi, we probably all know by now, for example, Sam Records.
Ah.
Very small company in France. One-man show. He puts out brilliant stuff. And nobody can tell me that a huge company isn't able to deliver this quality. Even if they are 2 steps below, it would be okay. They just don't care. You know, they give you rubber dwarfs, books, T-shirts. Thank you.
Are you blaming me because of my Uber box? Because of
no, not at all. But imagine, Messi. Imagine, yeah. Again, a terrible example of things how you shouldn't do it.
Right.
Imagine this Uber box, and included a beautiful, great remaster of this great album.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely pick on
10 centimeters larger immediately.
We could definitely pick on, and I'm sure we're going to go there a little bit, the Beatles and the Beatle heirs and the solo Beatles. You know, there's this kind of holy grail of these wonderful holy grail tapes in Abbey Road of the Beatles, and accidentally, I shouldn't say accidentally, but the mono box really was an accident. The Beatles vinyl mono box from analog was sort of accidental, because when the black box came out, the stereo was a 2009 stereo box, finally, that big beautiful black box. I think they sound okay, and they're not bad for most people. The problem where the brouhaha started is because half of them were pressed in Rainbow in LA, which is a pressing plant that no longer exists. And there was a lot of bad pressing glitches. It wasn't, people weren't bitching right away about the sound, although some did from the digital artifacts, but it was about the pressing. The optimal one, which I have, actually sounds pretty darn good. I remember going to a release party of that stereo Beatles box set, and the guy there, he just talked, I was asking him about the mono set. He goes, yeah, we just got our first test pressing for the mono set, and we're going through that, and we're going to try to get it out by the holiday season next year. Well, as it turned out, they scrapped that because of all the brouhaha, partly Michael Fremer, a number of people, and they brought, I'm blanking on his name, the gentleman from Sony Legacy who had done the Dylan mono stuff and the Miles Davis. They brought him as a consultant to consult to do it right. And then they scrapped it. They did the Beatles mono. Now those records, as you know, the box sets are going for $1,500, $2,000. And they were available for 4 or 5 years, but a lot of people weren't into the vinyl thing then.
Yeah, but maybe, you know, probably maybe you agree. If it comes to the Beatles, if it comes to the Stones, name them, you know, if it comes to Led Zeppelin, I really don't want to say, okay, it's not that bad. I want to say, oh my God, that's so cool. Here it is again. We don't have to go through thrift stores and get some dirty hands. And I want to go to the store, and here it is, and it's great. It's great.
You want this.
Everybody who has his 2 cents wants this. This is probably
one-sided 45 RPM. This is actually my friend Coffee Day's copy box, anvil box that I'm selling for him. And
but Messi, excuse me. No, I don't want this because it's not realistic. You know what I'm talking about?
I totally know.
You can do it decent without.
You want that like this? Do you want that like this?
I love when it comes out like this. I want it like Sam Records does it. For example, another good example,
like this, or you want it like this, just the basic good record.
Yeah, the basic record, but here again we are on this audiophile side. But take the Yellow remasters. You know Yellow from Switzerland?
Yes, I know Yellow.
Simple remasters, not audiophile, but they sound great. They have done it right because Boris Blank is into it and said, when I do them on vinyl, when I do a reissue, I want to do it on today's standards as good as possible. And that's what I'm talking about.
Well,
Not this.
You brought up to me before we came on these John Lennon records, and that Sean did. Now, my question to you. Now, these were remixed, not only remastered, because Sean and not Miles Shotwell, I forgot who worked on these. I'm blanking out. I apologize. Worked on these and remixed them for what they see as a newer audience that likes things pushed the vocals up a little bit. That's a subjective thing. Are you against these because of the remix or because of the remasters? Now, you have original copies, but I mean, you don't have original copies. I assume you want the regular mix, but just good pressings of them. Is that correct?
Exactly. I think they can do this stuff when they have done their homework, and their homework is to give us good remaster of the original. And then back to a sentence you said quite in the beginning, there is no objective when it comes to a good sounding record. In a way, Messi, there is maybe even two of the original pressing and what is on the master. What do I hear when I listen to the original tape? That in a way is objective. And that is what I want on the record. As close as possible to the master. And then you can do stuff like adding more bass, getting his vocals more up front, and do as you please. And then I decide, yeah, I want it with a little more bass. Oh no, I don't want it. I have my original, I'm happy with it. But before they haven't done that, there is no, but it's strange that they do it that way.
Yeah, it is interesting because when these Lennon albums came out, two amongst my favorite, the first two John Lennon albums, when All Things Must Pass came out, I went back and played my original copies, and I keep my copies of my records for the last 50 plus years pristine. I have, for the most part, and I don't like to buy used mildew, musty, smelly copies of records. I'm sure you don't either, definitely. But All Things Must Pass, it sounded great. Plastic Ono Band, the original analog recording, sounded great, American and UK.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
And it didn't. And I put it. It was a different thing. I mean, I don't prefer the new ones. I enjoy them as an alternate, but I probably will rarely pull them out and listen to them initially. But is that's the question? Is it fair? We're old white guys now. They're introducing this to a new audience. Maybe there's a legitimate thing to that. And I read a lot of comments.
No, it's not. We can't paint John black now because it's hip. No, that's the way John Lennon did his music. I don't need a remaster from Elvis Presley. Why?
You mean remix? You're talking remix.
I want Elvis Presley. The original, simple, pure Elvis Presley. Of course, you can do some fun with it. Play them on 45 if you're into it, of course. But that's not the idea. And somehow, in my opinion, this is now my English gets weak again. This is just to cover the shortcomings when it comes to their remastering abilities.
One could argue that the thing that ruined all this is not the vinyl resurgence, but is the popularity of streaming. And I'm not against streaming. I don't stream specifically. Streaming and playlists. What's happening is, Universal Music or Sony Music or Warner Brothers, Warner Electro Atlantic, do all these playlists, get them out on Spotify and Apple and Amazon, and they're competing in a way. Now, music shouldn't compete, but they're putting a John Lennon song next to a Pink song, next to a Billie Eilish song, next to a Rolling Stone song, Bowie song, and they want that volume to pop. And they take these original recordings that have more dynamics and more things, and when someone's listening to them, they fall flat in comparison. Now, I disagree. But that is the reality of it. It's pumped up. That's why the vocals are brought up on the Lennons. That's why the bass is brought up, maybe the mid-range a little bit. It's flatter. That's why we had, unfortunately, the whole loudness wars when CDs, were coming out.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to vinyl and the vinyl boom, I think it's quite the opposite. I think what you said is, of course, completely right. But vinyl is, in all those things, the opposite. And we have nowadays we have this two things. We have the digital world with all its advantages, and then we have something completely different, which takes a lot of space and are terrible to handle in a way. But people love it somehow. People who are into it, and we are getting more and more people into it, are loving it because it is quite the opposite from streaming and digital and having more than this shelf on this thing. It's quite the opposite. But
I agree. I agree.
Nice.
The compromise, if there is an ability to compromise here, would be in a way like this. It comes back to the magical, not even so magical, but tone poets, which came from Music Matters Jazz, which tone poets in a way came out of the screw up, maybe some would say, of the Blue Note 75, that were not only kind of not great transfers, I guess, digital transfers, but also like kind of wonky pressings. And what happened is, it would be great if the labels, now the problem is the pressing plant capacity, but wouldn't it be great if, okay, we had these John Lennon, we had these Bowie, we had all this stuff, and then there was the tone poet line. I'm using that as a branding thing, but just let's call it that for everyone. You could buy all the Beatles albums in a tone poet line. I know it's the wrong name, but you could buy all the solo albums. You could buy all the Pink Floyd, all the, Katie Lang, whoever it is. You could buy those. Those are $20 more. They would sell out. You get the flippers again. It's like MoFi selling out. MoFi never used to sell out. Those Music Matters Jazz, when those SRXs came out, they were available for 10 months.
Exactly. Imagine they would put out one SRX right now, let's say 5,000, would be gone within minutes. Yeah, but you're totally right. But I think, if I remember that correctly, at least here in Germany, there is something, it's called high-end audio. And I think it was the very early 80s where most of those companies met and said, oh, come on, we talk about a standard. What is high-end audio? What does that mean? Because if it's an empty name, it doesn't count. And so they agreed upon several things that have to be fulfilled. For example, no EQing, not adding sound, trying to avoid adding sound. They agreed all on that part. I think the industry should set a standard when it comes to a remaster. Very easy. For example, take the original tapes when possible. One thing that comes to mind, there are probably a dozen other things that can be standardized.
Well, look, music is art, and you, in a way, you can't have a standard of the art form. But I agree with you. What they did in America, you probably have the equivalent in Germany. We have the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and every package of food is listed how much sodium, how much all the things. Now, remember when DVDs or CDs first came out, it was AAD or DDD.
Exactly.
Everybody wanted DDD because everyone wanted full digital instead of analog with steps.
So cool.
We have the RIAA here, the Record Industry Association of America. And problem is, they're sort of a powerhouse lobby group for the record industry, and they represent that. And the record industry would never bend over to the fact that they want to put it. Wouldn't it be great if every record had, okay, this, if we really knew if it's an analog source, because there's these tricky wordings, cut by analog, but there's probably a digital step in there, And again, as I said, I'm not against all digital. I think the plangent process, I think you talked about that on a recent issue. The Bruce Springsteen box that came out, the first one was plangent. And those records aren't great sounding records. They're compressed. That's the way Bruce and John Landau, his producer after the first couple records wanted his records. But the plangent process of those records sound better than the originals. With
Okay,
all
I
those
didn't know
Grateful
that,
Dead live.
but the first box set sounds great. The second is terrible.
Yeah, I didn't get the second. Like it's all the Grateful Dead live tapes. They go through the plangent process to tweak them out because of the tuning and everything. It's not doing auto tune, but it works for that type of thing. But wouldn't it be great if the RIA and we knew exactly and we understood exactly what this pressing was, any pressing we buy? You talk about like,
yeah, but what we have nowadays, I think is we have SAM, we have Impacts, we have analog production, we have MoFi, we have nowadays, thankfully, we have Blue Note with Tone Poet and Classic Series. So we have our usual suspects where we know, this will be probably cool, this will be probably great. But if you buy a Warner record or a Universal record, you know shit, it can be great, it can be terrible. It's pure luck. It's pure luck because you never know.
That's why
nowadays when I know it's from Abbey Road, Half Speed Masters, I have to tell you something, maybe you agree. How stupid is the following argument? Their strongest argument why they do Half Speed Masters, they say it reduces the S-ing. When they sing, the S-sing. Have you ever heard that somebody said, I can't listen to this record, it has so much S-ing?
Well, sibilance, is a real thing that people get upset about in certain cuts. Sometimes it's the record, sometimes it's the way your cartridge is aligned, and there's a lot of reasons for that. It can drive some people crazy, but I think that's a weak argument because how many of those S things have you heard on Kevin Gray's cut?
Exactly. I have never heard somebody complains about, there's too much S-ing. I hate that record. I've never heard that. And that's their strongest argument. They need to digitalize it, and that's the only reason. And then there has to be someone who doesn't know what he's doing, because even for half-speed mastering standards, their results are terrible throughout. And I'm so angry again. Sorry when I can say it again. And they have the great artists. It's so terrible.
It's easy for us YouTube types and us people with channels here to go out and throw, I read the forums like you do, the Hoffman forums, and they've been comments on some of your videos and some of my videos and things about why do we listen to this guy? What's his thing? Why do we listen to Michael 45 or Mazzy pontificate? Okay, I get this. And, we're telling our opinion. This is one thing. And obviously you and I have a lot of viewers per video and a lot of subscribers, and some understand where we're coming from. What we say is our own personal opinions. Only.
And we just take the freedom. We just take the freedom to share it. Nothing more. It's not. My voice doesn't count more than any other's voice. But that's what we like to do. We like to discuss about that kind of stuff, and nobody can make us Vorwurf.
You and I don't do
that we talk too negative. Usually we are. I think we are mostly positive because most things we talk
you and I are mostly positive, and some people object to that because we're not as negative. I try to do a fair balancing. When I talked about the Beatles stuff, I talked what I like about it. I talked what I didn't like about it. I buy these collections. I talk the very few times we've been accused of, they must all get free records all the time. And I don't know about you, I've gotten very few records.
Still waiting for more free records.
Right. I'm sure, send me free records, okay?
Yeah, sure.
But if I do, I will tell people they're like, I got.
Why not?
Like, well, this was really sweet. I mean, I got this. This is the white album of Imagine that came out.
I've seen that video, yeah.
And it was, obviously this is an automatic print thing, but this was to Mazzy, Imagine Love Yoko and Sean. Obviously we have a lot of viewers and we talk about these things, and I talk about the release. And if I like it, what I don't like about it, I appreciate that someone is watching and responding, but that's not why we're doing these things. Believe me, these take a lot of time, as you know, and we enjoy talking about music. And I've been talking about music with my friends for 50 plus years, and I found this outlet in the last 4 years, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy sharing this. And you and I buy a shitload of records, and we strive,
Tell my
we want
wife.
to buy good sounding records. And sometimes that Velvet Underground is not a high, you know, I don't know if that matters. I'm curious to hear that because how bad can it sound?
I think for young people, Velvet Underground does matters. It's a very important group. It's an incredible important band, incredible important music, and I think they are modern up until to today. It is a very, how important, Messi. Imagine analog production would do a new HQR of this record. It would be fantastic.
Well, that's a whole other thing. You know me. You and I have had tempered disagreements on this kind of stuff, and I'm not dumping on this album. Probably the best version of this album out there with the classics version, which is basically identical to that. But I'm one that think this friggin' box set is a waste of time, waste of money. $100 box set. Okay, I paid for it, and it sounds fantastic. It's not as quiet as many of my other records, and it should be. But why do we need this? You know, when you take the record out of the box, it looks like a tone poet. It looks stout in covers. That's all you need.
Says the man who has a huge pirate.
Yeah, that's total. You're absolutely right. That's a novelty. That's a novelty thing. But I look on I can't see it here, but I see a row of like 20, 30 of these. You know, really? What do you need that? I have my like 75 Music Matters Jazz up there in 2 cubes, and I love it. And that's the record. That's the artwork. I don't need to open up this.
Yeah, but that's of course a beautiful thing to have 2 opinions or 3 or 4 or 12 different opinions. But when it comes to a minimum standard of remastering very, very important music, there can't be so much difference in the opinion.
Now we
want them as best as possible. And when it comes to the very important parts, we don't get it. We get it when it comes to the Pink Floyd catalog. I think this is very decent and can be put as a positive example where you can do a remaster, which is really okay, but not when it comes to Led Zeppelin, to Rolling Stones, to Beatles, and for example, Queen. Then we don't have what we need and what we want and what we should get, because it's possible.
Yeah, I do agree with you on most of this stuff. It comes down to, you know, those of you who are watching this and don't know my channel and know from Michael's point of view, going way back, I'm old enough, in the 70s, from 73 to 82, was in the record business when it was a very different business. Got a lot of promos. You know, we had a lot of rejects, a lot of bad pressing, return, but you're pressing millions of records. It was a different scenario. But it's all about the bean counters. Even now, you go to Sam Records. Sam Records has a few advantages. It's a one-man shop. These tapes that he does are recordings were recorded in French studios that have probably been pulled out very few times and reissued very few times over the last 50, 60 years. So they're probably a lot cleaner, and they're probably, they haven't been moved around a lot, like all the Blue Notes, and they're in this warehouse and this label and this and that. And he does a fantastic job. He doesn't have to, you know, talk to the marketing departments that dictate this stuff. And, oh, we don't want to take that out because we need a $1 million insurance policy if we send a tape to Kevin Gray, or, you know, God forbid we take Abbey Road out of the vault again. We took it out 10 years ago to digitalize. I think they should. I think they need to do a fantastic stereo audiophile Beatles stereo series again.
There's only one reason for them. And okay, if they only open them for one more time, please put the mastering equipment from Abbey Road next to the tapes, and then you can close the vaults forever. Then it makes sense. But otherwise, get those damn
Well,
tapes.
you're being a little selfish for our generation. What about the next generation that wants them? And well,
No,
all
they
records
should
will,
get them out. Otherwise, they are worthless. It's
yeah.
not in
I mean, they'll get our
religious
copies
way.
because we'll be dead, so they can get all our copies. But you're right. I think. I mean, the Beatles deserve. I mean, I know we're picking on the Beatles here, and it's not just at all about the
Yeah,
Beatles.
but Beatles are a great example. I think they're the role type for this kind of discussion, because they are, even I say they are important, and they don't get the attention they should get.
Well,
The more,
especially because they did it with the mono record. They did it. They
exactly,
fucking did
exactly.
it. Can I say fuck?
And everybody celebrates them for doing it. So come on, what can
Yeah.
happen to this frigging tapes? Nothing. Those are all people. They know what to do. Why not? My God, it's
Yeah. Paul
it's
McCartney,
ridiculous.
Sir Paul, Sean, Yoko,
Yeah,
Danny,
yeah.
Olivia, Ringo. Do it. Do it
You know,
once.
Messi,
Take it out
maybe
of the family. I'm going to say,
yeah,
wait, take it out of the family. Okay, we love Giles Martin. We love Shotwell. Get Kevin Gray. I know Kevin Gray's busy. He'll believe me. Kevin Gray will take the time to do the Beatle catalog. Get it out of the
100%.
fucking family.
100%. And Messi, you know, in 2 weeks, maybe we sit here again, and you know what we talk about in 2 weeks? Let it be. And you know what we will say?
The same thing we're saying right now.
The same thing all over again.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes
Yeah,
to
great
me.
album. And okay, I hate to be biased, but I have a gut feeling that I know the outcome.
Yeah, you know, to me, the best part of it is going to be the documentary, the film. I'm not so psyched on what they do remix wise. I mean, it's fun to hear recordings. I have
But
bootlegs.
how excited would you be if that would be in audiophile, beautiful
Of
pressing?
course, of course. Now,
exactly.
now, but however, going back, and I don't know if again your audience, I don't know them as well as. I mean, we have overlap a lot, but I bought when it came out the Mobile Fidelity Beatles box set, you know, with all the white labels and the taped off. And I think it's horrible. They EQ'd it
Not good.
strangely.
Exactly.
I think it was that Stan Richter who worked on that. They did use all the analog tapes except for Magical
Are you
Mystery.
100% sure? Yes, that they did. That they really did take the original.
They
tape?
did. They did. Steve Hoffman confirmed that, as well as other people. They got the tapes and they did it, and they made a EQ decision that just fucked those records up forever.
Yeah. EQing it, please. And that's what I love about the electric recording company. There is much that you don't have to agree on and that you don't have to like.
But this is a copy. This is
what you can like about the ERC is that they do it pure. They just let the tapes run through the mastering machine, and then you get the pure tape. And I love that, and that's what I want.
You know what's funny about this? This is just happens to be a copy. I have another copy, but this is a copy that was in the Coleman collection, right? Mm-hmm. And he bought it used during when no one gave a shit about vinyl, and of course it's split. It says out of print. You know how much he paid in a used record shop for this MoFi?
Tell me.
$2.95.
Okay, I'll give you $4.
$2.95. The record itself.
Take a different sleeve, please. Come on, Messi.
The record itself is pristine, and I haven't listened to this one, but it's similar to the one I have with that's in the box. It's the same cut actually, but
I sent you an archival sleeve, Messi. Come on.
Yeah, I will when we
take a decent sleeve for this one, please.
Yeah, I will. But I haven't gone through everything. I'm going through 5,000 albums here. You know.
Yeah.
So, any kind of last thoughts? I guess we don't have to go on and on and on about this. We can continue this, but we want this. We want the best. We want to buy these records. And
yeah, and I see that there might be a danger for the vinyl boom if we deliver the upcoming vinyl collectors, the young vinyl collectors, not the best possible quality, because that's one of the main arguments to go back or come into vinyl. It's the quality. It's, of course, Messi, it's all about the music, but when it comes to vinyl, there are other aspects. And this is quality, 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 in my opinion. And I'm not talking audiophile here. Don't
Well,
get me wrong.
even though you say that, though, I mean, the reality is a lot of people aren't bitching about that. They may, like in the Harrison thing, you're talking about the Harrison. People weren't bitching about they were bitching about the remix more than the mastering, ironically. They weren't bitching about that.
Yeah. And both is not good. Not good. Either the mixing nor the mastering. But again, when it comes to the mixing, we are in the area of subjectivity, I think. You can like it or dislike it, or be neutral. But
yeah, it would be great to have a fly on the wall. Unfortunately, you and I have had these discussions, and those of you who are new or have been following a while know that Michael and I and Michael in Los Angeles have done the Four Corners, and we've had these kind of conversations. We'd love to have people from labels and have conversations with them. The problem is they can't really say anything. If we were to interview a Giles Martin or a Shotwell, I get it. They're employees of Abbey Road or EMI or whatever. They can't just come out and say, "Look, I've been arguing with them to get these tapes out for 20." They can't do that. They just we've worked. You own a company. You co-own a. I mean, I don't know. There's certain things your employees probably can say. I work with advertising, and I have to sign NDAs with my photographers for ad agency. And there's things that I know about things that I just can't say. And I'm sure you're in the same boat. And I'm sure these people, Kevin Gray would probably like to say a lot more than he says about certain things.
He was so open when we talked to him. He said such incredible, interesting stuff. He also agreed that the classic series doesn't sound as good as, for example, Music Matters. I was really surprised when he said that. But you're totally right, and we can't expect that from them. What we can expect is that they give us the best. And if they don't do it, and I have the feeling that they don't, we are here to say, cut the crap. We want the
crap.
Yeah.
Cut the crap. That's the name of who did that album called Cut the Crap, Michael?
You have to tell me.
The Clash.
Cut the Clash. Oh, damn it. I should. Oh, that has been one that yeah, right.
So is this video called, what is this called again?
Let's call it, We Want the Best, Cut the Crap. Or we want
the best records, cut the crap.
Okay, cut the crap.
Okay.
The cut the crap part is the most important. Messi, thank you very much. Okay, after all that time, it worked again.
It worked again, and we get along. This is détente between Germany and the United States. Now, I won't get into politics.
I don't like him, but don't tell him.
Yeah, you're going to have a new leader in your country, so, Okay.
Stop.
Okay. Mazzy loves you, and thank you, Michael. And
thank you, Mazzy. It was great.
We'll talk later. All right?
All right.